Latest football news,
engaging debates,
and fascinating opinions.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Yes, and welcome back to Pitchside Talk, back for another week full of your football action. Well, as you can tell, it's only me today. Dan has been suspended for one show. He was on about the VAR rule, the video operation room rule. You can't enter it as a player. Well, he decided to put that to the test on Saturday, and he automatically got a red card. So he's suspended for one show, which is quite annoying, but he'll be back next week, don't you worry. Well, we've got plenty of coming up on the show today. We're talking about Ipswich Town, we're talking about the Premier League, and we're going to be talking about the transfers, because lots of transfers happened on Monday. Lots of Premier League departures went all over Europe as the transfer window fully shut across Europe. And also we have two interviews, actually, one from Dan, actually, about Ipswich Town. I got him to ask a few questions about Ipswich Town's recent performances on Saturday. And also Piers, he made a return. I got him to ask a few questions, so he did a little interview as well, talking about Chelsea, which we'll be talking about later on the show in the Premier League section. Well, I think we should better jump straight into it. Why not? Stay up to date with the latest footy news.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Yes, and welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio. It's just me today, George. Dan has been suspended for one show, actually, for entering the video operation room. So he's been given automatically red carded. But before I forget to mention, if you want to listen to any previous shows, head to our YouTube, which is Pitchside Talk. Or if you want to follow us on Twitter, because we release polls daily about the latest footy news that's coming out. It's simply talk_pitch, and you can stay up to date with all the latest news on there and everything, polls about anything to do with football. Well, right, we better get on to talking about Ipswich Town now. It's a bit weird. I'm going to be the host and the pundit today, but also I do have Dan, not here, but I do have some. I asked him some questions about Ipswich Town. I played on Saturday, and we'll talk about last night's game as well. And he answered them, and so we have his response as well, which I'll read out like he was here, like he's here in the room with us. But we better start with Saturday. Ipswich remained top of the league after winning against Shrewsbury 3-0. Wow, it looks like the dream actually is coming alive. Norwich in the relegation zone, Ipswich top of the league. Life's all good, isn't it? Well, I asked Dan about. He went to the game, like he always does. He's a season ticket holder, so he goes to practically every home games he can. And I asked him about how impressive were Ipswich on Saturday, and his reply was, "It was really good performance from us. Throughout the team, there were improvements from what I saw against Wimbledon. It did well defensively to get a clean sheet, and once again, Jackson and Norwood shown that they can be lethal this season. Kane Vincent-Young was excellent, and it was good to see such attacking fullback." Well, that's good to see, because I know last week me and him talked about the Bolton game a lot, and he was on about how he was very impressed by sort of Kane Vincent-Young, who did really well on his debut, actually. He recovered from his injured toe he picked up as he signed for Ipswich, apparently. And he's very impressed with how Norwood and Jackson did, and also the clean sheet get out. Well, speaking about Norwood and Jackson, I asked them about can any defence stop Norwood and Jackson this season, because they look so lethal. I think this season they've got actually no, we'll read the answer out first, and then the response, sorry, and then we'll go on to some stats and that. He said it doesn't look like it at them it doesn't look like it at the moment. I'm sure there'll be times where they don't score, but it looks like they really can link up well. Really already known Norwood was a goal scorer, so I guess we were expecting that. May it long continue. Well, it's quite weird actually, because I actually did some research on both of them this morning, and actually Jackson, right, this season has got 4 goals and 1 assist in his last 6 games for Ipswich in the league. Last season he got 4 goals and 2 assists in 36, so he has really come alive this season and actually shown the Ipswich faithful that he is a very good player. And I think he's actually a much better player than he was last season, even though I think I saw him score against West Brom, but he seemed to sort of struggle a lot with the one-on-ones and starting up top by himself. But this season with Norwood, I think he really has come to life. And looking at Norwood's stats, he's got 5 goals and 2 assists in 6 games. And he's only 1 goal behind last season's top goal scorers, Freddie Sears and Guyon Edwards, who got both 6 goals in the championship. So it looks like Ipswich have really sorted out their problems going forward. And actually, this is a funny stat, actually. Ipswich has now got the same amount of goals as Man City did. Man City have got on 14 in the league. And at the same stage last season, they had 5 goals. So they really have improved on going forward. But I asked Dan about Kane Vincent-Young. Kane Vincent-Young. He started his first. He made his home debut at Ipswich Town on Saturday, and asked Dan how did he get on, because there's a lot of sort of hype around him that he's going to be the next sort of replacement that Ipswich need to sort out the right back problems, and it looks like they have with Kane Vincent-Young. But I asked Dan how did he get on. He said, "Our defensively look 10 times better with KVY at right back. He looked comfortable on the ball. He was okay defensively. You can really see." You can see really he likes to attack down the right hand side, and he was one of them who started the moves for the 3rd goal. I can't wait to see how he improves. I think he's going to be really good for us. Well, it looks like Ipswich has spent £500,000 well, which was sort of quite at the time was quite a big significant figure by Ipswich spending £500,000 for a footballer. Because they don't usually spend much money on footballers these days at Ipswich Town, but they spent out £500,000 for him, and he looks like he's doing well. But after the game, Dowles said, I can quote, he said, "We have one of the best squads in the league," which is quite a big statement from Ipswich Town, sort of where they were last season to saying that now, and quite early on really. We're only 6 games in. Quite early to say that, but I asked Dan, what did he think? Did he agree with that quote? And he said, "It's hard to know after 6 games in the season, but I think our squad is much better than it was, and it's definitely one of the teams that will be we will be afraid of coming up against. Those sides that look good, like Lincoln and Peterborough, but we will have to wait and see." Well, I sort of actually agree with sort of Dowles. I usually do disagree about Ipswich a lot, but I have to agree with Daz. I think they do actually have one of the best sides in League One. I think they really have improved. I think under Paul Lambert, he's made them look better in sort of going forward. I think that's a big problem last season was going forward. They couldn't finish chances. I think he's improved that very well with James Norwood. Defensively, I think they look better, but I'm not too sure about it still. I think at the moment it looks good. I think they're in good form, but I don't know what it'd be like when it comes to games which are back in like when they have a game on Tuesday and then a game on Saturday. Then sort of games would be sort of a big test for Ipswich. But with Walden and Chambers, they look really good, solid partnership together. And finally, I did ask Dan about can Ipswich finally keep up this fantastic form this season? And Dan came back with, "I think we can. No disrespect to League One and the teams in it, but there are a lot of games that we should be winning. Obviously, we can't win all of them, but I feel that with the attackers that we have, we can keep this form and win promotion this year. My worry at the start of the season was slowly disappearing. I'm still worried about the defence, but I definitely am more settled at the back now." Well, I totally agree. I think my personal opinion is that I think Ipswich have a high chance now of winning the league. I think my prediction of 7th, just missing out on the playoffs, I think it's a bit unfair. I think they look quite good. I don't know if they have sort of that. The defence is still my main concern. If they get an injury there, who's going to come in and cover that? And also, people coming back from injury is going to be a big thing. How are they going to fit in? We've got Sears still to come back. Garbutt's got to come back. So there's a few people to come back from injury. But I think they look quite good at the moment. I think they've just now got to keep building from this. Well, last night Ipswich actually did play. They play in the EFLleasing.com Cup. Quite a long name. They played against Tottenham under-21s, and Jordan Roberts secured a victory for Ipswich Town 2-1. I think the game was actually quite important, really, for Ipswich to win. I think Ipswich need to have a little cup run. They sort of seem to kind of go into the cup and go, nah, we've got other games to think about, which Lambert has stressed. He said there is other games to think about. So he's not got his priorities set on that at the moment. But they did win last night against Tottenham, which is good to see because it was a changed squad. There was nine changes. Only Kenlock and Walton kept their places in the squad. But there was lots of debuts, or a lot of changes, a lot of debuts for rotation, really. Dobar got another chance. Elmzuni got another chance. And everything else. Will Norris played last night. Hughes played. John Nolan played. Jordan Roberts, who's sort of been in and out of the squad a bit, but he came on and he played. He played quite well, scoring 2. But looking at it, it looks like this sort of getting this win really for the rotation squad was quite important because you need you need sort of the players who don't play consistently. You need them to win. To sort of, if there's going to be an injury, you can rely on them to come in and re-improve the squad. And I think somebody like Dobar has shown off his talents again with 2 assists. He looks like he could be a really good player for it. Maybe I think he should be considered into the first team. Sort of just have him as a sub, bring him on for 5 to 10 minutes in a game that's sort of secured and sort of see what he can do. Because I think he looks like the future of Ipswich, which is good to see. Because there's not many youthful players at Ipswich, really. The academy's sort of slowed down a bit, but he looks like he could be one exception. But last night, Ipswich did play a brand new system of a 3-5-2. It's apparently a system Paul Lambert wanted to try out because he wants to try and solve a few problems with his team. And it looks like it worked quite well because I think there's Dan's been on about stress about he wants Alan Judge to play, but he feels Alan Judge isn't a winger. He should be playing behind strikers, but he doesn't. But the one part is he doesn't want to sort of drop players from the squad. He doesn't really know how to go. Well, last night they did play a 3-5-2 and it did work with El Mazzuni in sort of playing behind Dobar and Jordan Roberts. Dobar getting his first chance up top, providing 2 assists. I think the last time he played was on the left wing, scoring against Luton. But he looked quite impressive on that left-hand side. But maybe the 3-5-2 might be the way to go. I think this is the time to test it in sort of a cup game because you're not going to be losing points, really. It's one of the things. But looking at it, it looks like the 3-5-2 might work. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see Paul Lambert soon switch to the 3-5-2 and possibly seeing how it all works in the league. Because I sort of created a possible 11 that could go into 3-5-2. And looking at it, you can have Thomas Honey in goal, Wolverton, Chambers, and then James Wilson as a centre-back. Maybe Ken Locke, because he played there last night and did all right there. And it's sort of then your 5 midfield would be sort of your wing-backs would be Kane Vincent-Young, and the other side, Luke Garbett, because he looks a very impressive player. And I think he's very good at bombing down that wing. And he can get back quite well defensively. And then your midfield would be, your trio would be Dowles, Skews and Alan Judge just playing behind the strikers, playing behind Norwood and Jackson. And I think that would be all good there. Well, that's our Ipswich Town sort of talk done. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the Premier League. Ooh. And also we'll have our little interview from Piers about Chelsea's result against Sheffield United on the week.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Yes, that's right. Pitchside Talk is one of our own here on IO Radio. Don't forget to, if you've missed the show, you can go back onto our YouTube and watch the previous shows. Simply search Pitchside Talk and you can watch all the shows. All the shows from when we started back in, I want to say February, March time. I know it's been going on for a long time now. Lots of shows. Too much football chat for 1 week. But if you want to follow us on Twitter, we do polls and that about football. Simply search for @talk_pitch, and you can follow us on Twitter to see all the polls and that we do. We do quite a lot daily polls about anything about football, any sort of news that's come out. It's quite interesting to interact with the audience. But we better now talk about the Premier League. It's back. It was back last week. Last week before the international break. Yeah, this is going to be a bit weird. No Premier League football, international. what are we going to do? But we better get onto it. So the North London derby happened on Sunday. Arsenal took on Tottenham, and Arsenal pulled off a comeback against Tottenham to earn a point. I think it finished 2-2. I think it was Eriksen scored, and then Kane in the first half, and then the second half was... Oh, no. No. And the end of the first half, Lacazette scored, and then the beginning of the second half... Oh, not beginning, right at the end, Aubameyang scored. So Arsenal got a point out of Tottenham, which I like to see. But looking at sort of the match, Tottenham sort of dominated the first half a lot, but then sort of the second half they fell short again, and it seems like they're struggling a bit this season. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the sort of the squad that sort of needs a bit of a revamp. They sort of made a lot of signings in the window with Ndombele, Jack Clark, Ryan Sessegnon, and Lo Celso from Real Betis, but they seem to be a bit falling short. The only victory at the moment is Aston Villa, which is the first game of the season. Looking at it, I think in my personal opinion, I don't know if they don't have enough definitely to challenge for the title this season. They've lost too many points already. Newcastle last weekend, that was a loss. That was quite a big one there. And then we have Man City. They got a point out of Man City, so it's a bit of a problem there. But looking at it, they are looking quite strong. But I just think they're going to fall short. I think they'll easily get top four, but it looks like they're going to fall short. That's the one problem. They need to sort of sort that out. And then we have about Arsenal showed a lot of character to get back, but should they be in this situation? No, they had a lot of defensive issues. Bert Leno at first, I don't know what he's doing. He saved the Lamela shot, but sort of then parried it instead of sort of parrying it like out of play. He parried it back into play, and it went to Eriksen, and he just hit it in. But that was the 13th error that has been recorded this at the start of last season. That's the most by any club, and Bert Leno is responsible for 6 of them. So I think Arsenal got sort of a lot of defensive issues out, and they had still a lot of defensive issues. David Luiz doesn't look too solid at the back, especially with Socrates. I think them two. I don't know about them. They look a bit risky. I wouldn't trust them really with the ball at the back. But yeah, it's sort of a big match. I think Arsenal. I think Arsenal will get top 4. I think they'll get it maybe just behind Tottenham. But looking at Tottenham's next game, it is against Brighton. Oh no, it's not against Brighton. Sorry, Crystal Palace. I'm looking at the wrong month here on my book. Against Crystal Palace at home, so that you would say that should be an easy win. But Crystal Palace did win against Manchester United at Old Trafford. And then looking here, Arsenal got to travel to Watford next weekend. So yeah, that's going to be a tough game there because Watford are wanting to get points, but they're not looking so strong this season. But we'll have to wait and see. Well, we better move on to Chelsea. Chelsea played against Sheffield United. Chris Wilder's side performed another comeback from 2 goals down at half-time to earn a point at Chelsea. And I have to say that's going to be a really big point for Sheffield United, especially in the sort of the relegation battle. Them sort of points can effectively decide if you're going to survive or go back down to the Championship. And they performed really well to get them 2 goals. But Chelsea is sort of struggling a lot this season. But we do have our interview now. Because speaking of Chelsea, Piers, who used to be on the show, he could return at one point. We never know. I need to start contract negotiations very soon with him to try and get him back. Don't know how, but we're going to try. But I asked him about Chelsea. I asked him a few questions about the result. So I asked him, first question his response was about Chelsea suffered another defeat under the Frank Lampard era. How annoying was it to be winning at half-time, but then to be drawing at full-time? They've had this issue already. They had it Leicester 2 weeks ago, where they were winning at half-time, they drawed at full-time, and then we had Manchester United, which was very unlucky. They just got torn apart really at the end. But I asked him, he said it's very annoying as it was 2 goals that could have been stopped at the same type of goals. We've been seeing all season. I feel it's due to us pushing up so high in attack, especially the fullbacks are getting caught out going back, especially Aspilicueta, who I feel is uncomfortable. His legs are gone at right back, but would be better playing at centre back. And I totally agree. I think Aspilicueta is a good player. You've got to have him in there as a captain. He's a very good leader, but he doesn't look suited at right back. I was said a few years ago, maybe under the Conte era, he would have easily played at right back, but he played at centre back and really impressed quite well there. And I think Frank Lampard maybe needs to look and go to fix that issue with playing there. But speaking of centre backs, Kurt Zuma was responsible for the second goal, which did go in. It was an own goal. I think that Sheffield United tried to claim it, but it didn't work. But looking at it, they got the last time a Chelsea player conceded an own goal was John Terry back in 2016, January 2016. So a long time from then. But I asked him about Kurt Zuma was at fault for the equaliser. Should Frank Lampard drop him for the next game against the Wolves, which is going to be quite an important game after another shaky moment at the back? And Pierce responded with, for me, if Rudiger is a key player for us and isn't back by then, I would drop Zuma and replace him with Aspilicueta. So Aspilicueta, he agrees with me, Aspilicueta should go back into centre back. Christian or Tomori then playing play, and then play Reece James on the right with Emerson on the left. I still believe Kurt Zuma is a good player, but just needs to sort his head out. And I think that's true. I think Frank Lampard needs to sort of look at his squad and go, maybe we could do that. I think Reece James looks like a really good young player. Could be playing for England. And we seem to be creating a lot of good right backs in the moment. Maybe we should be creating a lot of good players going forward, but we seem to be. It looks like the right back sort of pool is quite big now for England, but especially for Chelsea. I think Reece James looks like a good player, and I think with sort of Aspilicueta next to something like Tomori or Christian can really improve them themselves. They're still quite young. They're still learning a lot, and I think Aspilicueta could really sort of pass that information on to them and sort of help them in their careers. And then I next asked him about Tammy Abraham got another 2 goals on the weekend. How positive is it for him finally getting in the goals after he had sort of a bit of a shaky start to the season? Didn't look very comfortable. His response was hitting the post against United then after the racial abuse after the Liverpool game, which was absolutely awful. This shouldn't be happening in football, but it has been. Well, I think it's been done with. I'm not too sure. But he came back with after that. He bounced back very well. People saying that he wasn't going to. That his goals are against Championship clubs, but to score 4 in 2 is impressive. The runs that he makes and the chances that he takes are impressive. I feel that he will go on to score more, and I will enjoy seeing how he does against Liverpool at home. Thank you, Piers. But I still feel that Chelsea are missing a world-class striker. The man that I feel will suit the best is either Mario Icardi, who's gone on loan to PSG from Inter Milan. That's a very big move in the world of football. Or Timo Werner, who's a good player at Red Bull Leipzig in Germany. Been linked a lot actually with the Premier League quite recently, with Liverpool, Man U were linked to him a bit, Arsenal, and I think Chelsea will be. But we'll have to wait and see. And after that, I asked Piers sort of a little summary because we've had now 5 games with Frank Lampard in his new job, and I asked him about what do you think of it, and I said about has managed his first 5 games as a Chelsea boss. What do you think he has learned in his time, sort of with the youth and his team setup? Because it's been a very youthful Chelsea, especially with the transfer ban, using his youth, using his squad a lot. And what can we expect Chelsea to do this season? Biz came back. I feel that he has these games has helped him on where we are strong once the transfer ban has been lifted. What areas to be worked on? I feel once we have key players back like Callum Hudson-Odoi, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and N'Golo Kante and Ante Rudiger, we will be touched up at the back, and Chelsea can achieve top 4. And he put PS just to remind me. Last time Chelsea got Valencia in the Champions League, they won the Champions League. Piers just getting a little bit too ahead of himself there about the Champions League, because Chelsea are not going to win it, are they? Liverpool are. But yes, so or another interview there done. But we're going to now just do a quick run through of the other Premier League results that happened over the weekend. And we're going to be starting off with Manchester United drawing 1-1 with Southampton. Sort of a bit of a disappointing game by Manchester United in sort of the sense to be drawing this, drawing against a team really that should be, not to be, in sort of Manchester United's calibre, should be winning easily. Sort of come back after the loss to Crystal Palace. Daniel James scoring a very good goal. As a Liverpool fan, I have to sort of give him a little round of applause because that's a good goal. But Vestergaard hit back to get an equaliser for Southampton. Good for Southampton. They need the points, especially to get points against a very top side like Manchester United. It will help them. They're now 13th. But Man U in a bit of a slump at the moment since winning Chelsea. They won against Chelsea. Let's have a look who their previous games were. So they won against Chelsea in the first game of the season, and then they drew to Wolves, lost to Crystal Palace, and drew to Southampton. So in a bit of a rut at the moment. I think it's gonna, if they want to achieve top four, they need to start winning these sorts of games, because these sorts of games can define where you finish in the league. Up next, we have Crystal Palace got a winner against Aston Villa, winning 1-0. Jordan Ayew scoring against his former club. Crystal Palace played well, but Aston Villa, what happened at the end? Jack Grealish, he did not dive. I think Kevin Friend, well, I don't know if it's Kevin Friend or whoever, but how the VAR not interfere with that, because he didn't dive. My one thing is, if he died, you wouldn't have got the pass off. He got the pass off and then got tackled. So I think in my book, it should have been 1-1. Aston Villa feel very hard done by this, but he's just sort of, they need to sort of get these results, Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. It's sort of these sort of, I'm talking about the moment, 6-point games. Leicester won 3-1 against Bournemouth. Jamie Vardy getting 2. Still looking on fire. Leicester look really good this season. I think they could challenge for that top 6. They look like they can challenge it for a bit more, but Bournemouth in a bit of a bad position at the moment, in 15th. These are the games where they should want to be winning. Sorry. And then Man City winning 4-0 against Brighton. Quite a comfortable victory, really, but losing Eric Laporte, who's going to be out for a bit of time after having surgery on his right knee, confirmed today. That's going to be a big loss for them, because they only have 2 senior centre-backs now registered at Manchester City after losing Vincent Kompany to become a player manager, but now a player, because player managers don't work sometimes. But yeah, Man City, good result. Brian, they tried to play on style, and I think it was praised by Pep, but sort of when you go to Manchester City, losing by 1 feels like a bit of a victory sometimes. Newcastle, Watford. Watford got the first points of the season. That's what they need to do, but Newcastle will feel very hard done by not getting penalties and should have easily won the game, but it looks like these two sides could be in the relegation fight already. And then West Ham v Norwich. West Ham won 2-0 against Norwich. Yes, we don't need to say any more about that one because everybody's happy by that result. And Liverpool won 3-0 against Burnley, putting them back at the top of the league and undefeated at the moment. At the top of the league, haven't dropped points, but there was a big moment where Sadio Mane had a bit of an argument with Mo Salah. But it sort of seemed a bit frustrating as he came off about Mo Salah not passing the ball in sort of open areas to sort of Mane was going to score, and then Mo sort of didn't pass. But I sort of agree with Mane. He should get the ball a bit more from Mo, but Mo Salah's one of them players. I think he knows already that Mo's going to take the shot on. Mo sort of seems to get in the zone, and it's a bit. I don't think you can sort of get him off that. And then the final game, we'll talk about Everton won 3-2 against Wolves. Wolves haven't won a game this season. They've drawn 3 and lost 1, coming off the back of their Europa League qualification, actually. But yeah, it was a good match. Everton need to win these sort of games. These are the teams that you want to beat. They're challenging for the top 6 as well. So it's good to get points off your rivals, sort of. Wolves look good, but maybe they're in sort of Europa League sort of slump. They've already played 8 games this season, I found out, which is absolutely crazy. But I think there's a lot of hope still for Wolves. I think this is going to be a bit of a slow season. Maybe they might get 7th, maybe 8th, but we'll have to wait and see. Well, when we come back, we're going to be talking about transfers. Yes, transfers that happened. Lots of departures from the Premier League. So let's better get onto it.
The best place in Ipswich to hear the latest football debates, Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Yes, that is right. You are in the best place in Ipswich to listen to the latest footy debates here, Pitchside Talk on IO Radio. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Pitchside Talk on YouTube, to never miss a show. If you want to listen to the shows again as a podcast, yes, so you can skip all the music, you can have all the lovely chatter from me, Dan, when he returns next week from when his suspension's up from his red card he received on Saturday for entering the video operation room. Naughty boy. But yeah, and also you can follow us on Twitter, which is at @talk_pitch. Now we better get on to the news. Some more news actually. We had transfer news actually. There's a lot of transfers happened on Monday. Lots of people departing, Premier League clubs moving to Europe. It's sort of the new sort of thing that's happening over here. It's a bit weird, but there's lots of departures, and we better start with one. Henrik Mkhitaryan leaving Arsenal on a loan to go to Roma for a season-long loan. Yeah, lots of Arsenal fans sort of happy by this, sort of seeing him go, and he hasn't trying to put impressed. He hasn't really impressed much at Arsenal after his swap deal with Alexis Sanchez back in January 2018. Wow, I can remember that when that went through. That was quite a big transfer, really. Alexis Sanchez going to Manchester United, and look where he is now at Inter Milan. But sort of a big sort of thing for Arsenal, really, him going out to Roma. Would he sort of impress there? Well, looking at his stats at Arsenal, he has made 59 appearances, 9 goals and 13 assists. So he's sort of made his mark, but sort of hasn't at Arsenal. He's been sort of on the fringes of the squad, and then gets dropped to the bench again. But he's had a bit of a disappointing time. I think he can succeed at Roma. He did very well when he was at Borussia Dortmund, making 140 appearances, 41 goals and 49 assists. That's what everybody remembers him for. And then sort of going to Manchester United and not then succeeding well there, and then vice versa. But yeah, he can succeed. I think he will do very well there. Yes. So, and I asked people on Twitter what they thought about Henrik Mkhitaryan's transfer to Roma. Asked will he succeed there? And 79% of people said yes, and 24% of people said no. Moving on to the next transfer, we have Javier Hernandez has left West Ham after 2 years at the club. Has moved to Seville in Spain for 8 million after signing for West Ham for 16 million. So West Ham have already lost half on him, which isn't too bad. Speaking about when we get to the next transfer. But he's made 63 appearances, 17 goals and 4 assists. That's quite a big loss for West Ham, really. He came in, he was supposed to be the next main striker. He sort of didn't become a striker. He came a bit more in and out at West Ham, next to Marko Arnautovic, who's not there anymore. Thank God, because West Ham fans don't like him anymore now. But yeah, he's had a good period there. I think he'd be missed, sort of his goals when he came off the bench. He always scored off the bench. He's still continuing that record of only scoring inside the box, which is quite impressive, actually. But I think it'd be a big miss for West Ham, sort of in the facts of there's goals going off the bench, and you sort of need them. But they sort of have replaced him with other strikers over the summer. Sebastian Haller being one, a very big signing for them, sort of gonna push them out the league, and he did score against Norwich on the weekend, so he's already coming to light. But West Ham losing him, a very big loss. But I did ask people on Twitter, is it a good decision by West Ham to let him go? And 38% of people said yes, and 62 people said no. So quite one-sided there. I think he'll be a big miss. He'll be a big miss in the Premier League, really. He was very good at Manchester United when he came off on the bench, the little P. But yeah, Chicharito has gone to Spain. And now we have another transfer out of Manchester United. Matteo Darmian has left Manchester United for Parma for £1 million after joining Manchester United in July of 2015 for 12.7 million. So Man U have lost a lot of money on him, but he's sort of I don't know if he'll be missed there at Manchester United. Probably not. He sort of fell out of the squad, really, but he came in with Louis van Gaal and played a lot under Van Gaal, and then sort of played a bit under Jose. fell out of favour with Jose like every player does there, but he hasn't impressed really after that. But he made 92 appearances, 1 goal, 4 assists, and 42 clean sheets. But he looks like he'll do well at Parma. Good sign for Parma, really, for $1 million. Something still quite young, really. He's only 28, 29, so he's in his prime, so he'll do well there. But I asked people on Twitter, will he succeed at Parma? And 73% of people said yes. 27 said no. And finally, the final transfer is Fabio Llorente has joined Napoli on a free transfer, despite interest from Manchester United and former club Tottenham, the club that let him go. Very interestingly, wanted him back. I wonder why. Losing a bit of depth there, but he'll be a very important sign for Napoli. Came off the bench a lot for Tottenham and scored key goals, especially against Manchester City in the Champions League. Did a lot in the Ajax game to sort of save Tottenham's Champions League campaign. He made 66 appearances, 13 goals and 6 assists for Tottenham. He'll be a big loss for Tottenham, really, because Tottenham need a spare striker, and when he sort of was very good at changing the game, the dynamics of the game, and he'll be a big miss in the Premier League. And I think he'll succeed very well at Napoli. Napoli have made a very good signing. Whew, that's all our transfers done. When we come back, we're going to be talking about a few more bits in football world.
Pitchside Talk, footy debate from the Premier League Outback.
Yes, and welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio. And unfortunately, we've hit the end of the show. The referee's about to blow his whistle for full time. He's looked at VAR once again, and he's reviewed it. And Dan, well, it's still been sent off, and we'll be back next week on the show. Yes, so thanks for listening to this week's show of Pitchside Talk. I'll try what we're going to talk about next week. Possibly international, because we're England playing on. When have England actually playing? I can't remember. And I follow football. And I do know where England playing. Let's have a quick look. We'll do some online research right here, right now. Let's have a look. So we're looking for Euro qualifiers, and I think England are playing Euro qualifiers, aren't they? Hope they are. They better be. If they're not, whoopsie, I've made a grave mistake. I don't know when England are playing actually. Let's search. I should have done this before. They're playing on Saturday and they're playing on Tuesday. So yeah, we'll talk about England, because why not? England's a big thing. We'll probably be talking about Ipswich Town, and then probably some debating about our football club, because why not? Because we're good. It's good to debate on this show. Well, thanks for listening to this week's show of Pitchside Talk. If you missed the show, if you missed some parts of the show, go to our YouTube channel tomorrow, and it'll be up as a podcast. So if you simply search as a Pitchside Talk, you'll find it straight away. And make sure you follow us on Twitter at talk_pitch for the latest tweets on football news, and also just sort of funny football things, really, like I've just done now about Ed Sheeran met his heroes last night. He met James Norwood, Luke Garbutt, and Will Keane. So he met his heroes last night. So yeah, so go on that, like it, and all sorts. So yeah, and we'll see you next week, and ciao.
The whistle has been blowing for full time. Tune in next week for another jam-packed show.